Hey everyone, this is my last replay from 9.4. Now I say it's my last replay, I mean it's the last replay of me playing. I've got a couple of, well, not a couple, a lot of replays from other goons. I'm going to have to sort through them and see which ones are worth recording. Well, probably most of them are worth recording or I wouldn't have downloaded them in the first place, but I want to look out for, real different or interesting ones. It seems appropriate that my last replay from 9.4 should be in the Centurion, one of my favourite tanks. Tuned up with Solus goons. I had been platooned up with Solus and I think Atomizer, but Atomizer had gone to get something to eat, and this was my final match for the day anyway. Sorry about my tank jumping around, it's the replay bug, nothing I can do about it, and it hasn't been fixed in 9.5 unless Wargaming did it after the test server went down, which is very unfortunate. I hope they get around to fixing it soon, I really do, because there are, well, people who upload videos of this game mostly do it from replays, and having replays look so jumpy isn't something that's going to reflect very well on the game for people who don't play it and realise that the game, or don't realise the game isn't this jumpy. The replays is the only problem. As you can see, I actually have Eagle Eye on my Center Commander. It's because I have 5 crew skills on this tank, and once you get to about your 4th, you start running out of useful things to train, so you just start training bullshit for comedy reasons. And so I trained up Eagle Eye on my commander just so I could see how much shit I break when I shoot Hesh. At the moment I'm just playing fairly reservedly. The enemy doesn't have Arty, and they have a lot of tier 7s and 8s, which I'm not too worried about, but I don't want to get too carried away here. So I get a chance at the IS-3. Unfortunately I hit him at a bad angle because the T-20 had a good angle on me and I didn't want to stay exposed for any longer than I had to. The T-20 is actually a threat to me. Not a huge threat, but I don't want to throw away hit points if I don't have to. T-20's up again. He actually gets another shot into me, but the little shit is making it so difficult to hit him that I decided to just back off. And unfortunately the Tiger isn't stupid enough to sit out of cover and wait for his reload in the open. So I just let my teammates deal with him, and in fact, deal with him they do. Our Tiger manages to ammo rack him. I start pushing over the hill, because now I can use my gun depression and some of the rock cover. Snap a quick shot into the enemy scent there. One of the wonderful things about having such high velocity ammunition as the APCR rounds in the scent is that you can auto-aim and shoot, and more often than not you'll hit even if your target's moving, just because the shell travels so quickly and the ranges in this game are so comparatively short. That the shell arrives almost instantly and ends up hitting them anyway. Now, our 101 was playing with chance a bit there, ran right in front of my gun, right as I was firing. Thankfully, I didn't hit him. So with 2400 damage done already, it's not terrible, but I would like more than that. I'm not really happy in my set until I get at least 3000, which I'm getting close to now. Remember that because this is a 390 alpha gun, and it almost always pens, it's very rare to have more than 10 or 11 shots a match, and even with relatively few you can do 3,000 or 4,000 damage easily. So here I switched to Hesh for a bit of comedy, and comedy is what I get. I smack Carnarvon in the back of the turret, killing his commander, well, wounding his commander and crippling his radio. Clean up the scent, Hesh shell to the engine deck, and then I go for the Waffle, who unfortunately snaps a shot into me and kills my gunner, so I miss. But that's okay, because 53 tons of Angry Centurion doesn't miss. With them dealt with, I start heading to the northwest corner along with everybody else on my team. I'm trying to get just a little bit more damage in. I'm at 3.8k now, but I'm never going to say no to even more. Although I realised at this point Solus is probably going to get in there before me and end up cleaning the last couple of guys up before I could do anything. I decided to keep my Hesh loaded because none of the things still alive can reliably bounce Hesh, or not bounce it, but defeat it. I know from testing it when the Cent 7 first came out. I know that the Lurva can't handle Hesh at all. If you hit the Lurva basically anywhere with Hesh except the very front of its turret, you will fuck it up badly. Fortunately, he isn't going to pull around the corner. I was hoping he'd drive out, but he's still trying to maintain cover from most of my team, and there's no point me shooting at his cupola with Hesh. It would just end poorly. I mean, it may full pen him and do full damage, but... And Solus was being rude in TeamSpeak, taunting me that he would get there first, so I decided to switch targets at the last moment. But he turned towards me and my second Hesh shell hit him in the tracks for 120. So, pretty decent match, you know. Lots of nice damage, 7 kills in my platoon, 4 to me, 3 to Solus, and a little bit of Hesh. Actually, the funny thing is, if I hadn't fired any Hesh this match, I would have made money, but because I was firing Hesh, especially because I was firing it at targets that certainly didn't need Hesh, they were already one-shottable anyway, I ended up losing, I think, a couple of thousand credits. I think. It wasn't a lot. But typically, you know, unless I have a really, really bad loss, or I have a match where I just die without firing my gun, it's extremely rare to lose money in the Centurion. The only way I can reliably do it is to fire Hesh. And of course, because Hesh is so unreliable against many of the tanks the Cent faces, and because a lot of the time I can't be certain about whether I need an APCR roundup or not. For instance, you know, you might have Hesh loaded because you want to go beat up on a lower tier tank, and suddenly a high tier tank comes bucketing around the corner and you're fucked, because the Cent has about a 10-second reload. It's not good. So it's not very often I switch to Hesh. It's only when I know I'm safe to do it and there's no possibility of me accidentally throwing the game by firing Hesh at something I shouldn't fire Hesh at and only doing, you know, 50 or 100 damage. So I don't get a chance to use it very often, but whenever I get to the end of a match like this and see the opportunity, I do like to switch to it, even though it is basically wasting money. It's just amusing to hit people for, you know, 480, 500 damage, 550 I think is the max roll for Hesh, and end up critting a bunch of their modules. Each Hesh shell, as long as it's well placed, usually ends up critting at least 2 modules. And it does unholy things to tanks if you hit them in the engine deck. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. I'm not sure how many of the other Goons replays I will record. It really depends on how much time I've got, you know, what's in them basically. Some of them may not be really anything particularly new or exciting. And actually that brings me to a point. A lot of the time you get matches in World of Tanks, they're technically extremely good matches. You know, you do huge amounts of damage, get lots of medals, everything's good, except it's a really boring match. And I've actually uploaded a few of mine that are basically that. So if any of these replays turn out to be that kind of thing, I probably won't upload them. I'm going to try and aim more for the interesting or exciting ones, just to keep the amount of shit I have to upload down, so I don't make my backlog get too much bigger than it already is. But we'll see how we go. Of course, because I am recording these all from my PC before my internet's hooked up, which will probably happen maybe tomorrow, or it'll happen before I get back anyway. Because I am doing that, none of these have actual XVM stats on them, which is a bit of a downside. I like having the XVM stats on my videos just so you can get a better feel of why certain players are doing the things they are. You know, sometimes you look at a player and then you look at what color they are in the config and it all makes sense. But you know, it's not a huge thing, and if you want to know why a particular person in a video is doing something, you can just look them up on What Labs or Noob Meter or something anyway and find out what their deal is. But yes, thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in the field. I'll catch you on the next one.